Okay, so let's take a look at number one from the first version of the chapter one test. Just so you know, that's what the V1 means here, because there were two versions, remember. Okay, so we've got this triangle. It says J here is at 5, 9. K is at 7, 1. And L is at -3, -1. And so the first part says find the slope of segment JL. Now remember, slope, the phrase for slope is rise over run. And so if I actually draw in a slope triangle here, I'm looking at JL, so that's this line, or line segment really, and I'm going to come up with my rise and straight across with my run. Notice I'm only using horizontal and vertical lines to make my slope triangle. They have to be straight up and down or straight left and right. So this part right here, if you think about it, well, when you go up and down, the y values change. And so I'm going from -1 to 9, right? So big minus little, 9 minus -1, 10 units. Or you could think of it as to get from -1 to 0 right here would be 1 unit, and then I've got to go 9 more units up, so 10 total. Okay, so this part right here, 10. When I'm going across the top here, the x has changed, so I'm going from -3 to 5. So -3 to 5, big minus little, 5 minus -3 gives me 8. So remember then, slope, rise over run. The rise is 10, the run is 8. And if you think about it, well, I'm going uphill here, right, not downhill. Or if you think of the graph of your money, it's good, so it stays positive. It's not a negative. So 10 over 8. Okay, you can use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, but this is the way we're going to do it in class most of the time because it's geometry class, and so this is more visual. And we can do other things with this triangle, which you'll see in part C anyway. Okay, so for part B, we have to find the midpoint of KL. Okay, so remember midpoint, here's KL. So let me get another color here. Let's do green. So here's KL, right? Well, the midpoint, roughly maybe about here. Now, if you just guess 2, 0, I think you're right, but guessing won't get you full credit because you have to show all your work. So remember, midpoint means right in the middle. So what we want to do is we want to get what's right in the middle of my x values here, and then what's right in the middle of my y values right here. And that'll give me the middle point, right? So another way of saying get the middle is get the average. So I'm going to average my x's, and then I'm going to average my y's, and that'll be my answer. So the average of the x's, my first x is -3, my second x is 7, and then I'm going to cut them in half. And then for the y's, my first y is -1, my second y is 1, I'm going to cut them in half. And so that comes out to be 4 over 2 and 0 over 2. And 4 over 2 is just 2, and 0 over 2 is 0. So it's 2, 0 right there. Now I'm going to get rid of it from this picture because I'm going to need to do some other stuff there soon. But we've got our answer for the midpoint. Okay, so then part C. Is it scalene, isosceles, or equilateral? And just in case you forgot, scalene means no equal sides, isosceles means 2 sides are the same, and equilateral means all 3 sides are the same. So what a lot of people did was they looked at slope, which you can use slope triangles, but slope itself doesn't tell you how long something is. Like this line and this line have the same slope, but all they are parallel. It doesn't mean that they're the same length, right? So let's take a look at JL, the one in red here. So I'll even color coordinate the whole thing. So if you look at JL, and I want to figure out how long that is because I need to compare it to JK and KL, well, let me calculate how long this is. So really, JL is part of a right triangle, the red right triangle here. So I can use Pythag on that triangle. 8 squared plus 10 squared equals JL squared. Okay, so if I plug that in, if I just work this out, I get 64 plus 100 equals JL squared. And then I take the square, or I add them, and I get 164 equals JL squared, and then I take the square root, and I get JL. Now for right now, I've said that you don't have to simplify roots, and you don't have to turn them into decimals if you don't want to. It's close to 13, but I'm just going to write root 164 right there. Okay, so now let's look at, let's say, the green side here, LK. So I'm going to do the same deal. I need to make a right triangle, and then I need to figure out what the sides of the right triangle are, and then I'm going to just repeat the same process that I did in this triangle, right, where I'm going to do the Pythagorean theorem again. So when I go up and down right here, the y's change, 1 and -1. So those are 2 units apart. If you did big minus little, 1 minus -1 is the same as 1 plus 1, which is 2. And then when I go across, the x's change. So I'm going from -3 all the way up to 7. So that's going to be 10. If you do big minus little, 7 minus -3, you get 10. Okay, so now I'm set up. Equals LK squared. So 104 equals LK, and root 104, oh sorry, LK squared. Root 104 is going to be LK. So now I know this whole side, root 104. Okay, so I know it's not equilateral already because 2 of the sides are different for sure. But we still got to check the third side. So let me get another color here. Blue. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. Let me just clean this up a little bit. Whoa, cleaned it up too much. Okay, so if I make my slope triangle for this one, I come straight across with horizontal and straight up with vertical. And then they meet right there. And so when I'm going across the top here, the x's change, 5 to 7. So big minus little gives me 2, 7 minus 5. When I'm going straight up and down, the y's change from 9 to 1. So that's a difference of 8. Big minus little, 9 minus 1, 8. Okay, so now I'm going to use Pythag. 2 squared plus 8 squared equals jk squared. Okay, that's 4 plus 64 equals jk squared. So that's going to be 68 equals jk squared. So jk is going to end up being root 68. Root 68 for this side. Okay, now we've got all 3 sides. Root 68, root 104, and root 164. And it's pretty easy to see those 3 things are all different. So since all 3 sides have different lengths, triangle JKL is scalene. Okay, hope that helps. Rewatch it if you got stuck on any part, especially if you're having trouble drawing these slope triangles here on the sides, or if you're having trouble with these calculations of how long those things are. If you watch this video a couple times and you're still stuck, definitely come talk to me about it, okay?